Dear beloved Creator of all that is, we acknowledge we can pray in silence, and we do. Our life lived goodly, godly is a prayer, and we pray with our words. We know words are significant in how we use them. When we write out words, we spell them out. So now we acknowledge words are comprised of spelling. We know that the simple utterance of a word or its inflection or intention can cast a spell, particularly when used with ill intent and frequency. We can be programmed with words. Words repeated intensify and embed our thoughts and create. Then we have created thought forms. We ask, knowing all of this, that our thoughts and our words are raised to the highest intention and for the highest good. We acknowledge the importance of directing our thoughts and words to you, to our service to you, and to our fellows in all our ways, so that we are lofty in our minds, that our hearts stay true to your goodness, to the goodness of humankind. We acknowledge and appeal to you that our words, our actions, and our prayers are always moving us toward revindication of all the good in humankind, and that our goodness is reclaimed and fortified by your grace. And so it is.
Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure.
My name is Ron Vrauman. I'm the old man talking head from the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm here with Charlie White and William Appel. Would you guys introduce yourselves, please?
Sure. I am Charlie White with Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, and we conduct our meetings every week, every Monday night at 7 p.m. And I kind of oversee those on the agenda and like to have everything run through me so that we're all on the same page.
I'm William Appel. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly on Portland, Oregon.
I have a little script here that I've made up, and I'll read it, and then we can discuss it if you don't mind. Definitions again. I tell the truth, at least I don't lie. I associate with the same kind of people. What is success? When the contest is for the minds and souls of those involved, the ability to remain in the contest is a goal. Our goal is to return Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government. To those on the land and soil of the other several states and territories, you must do for yourselves. Is it a paradox? You must do it yourself, and you cannot do it alone. Societies are for persons. Assemblies are for men and women and children. Body, mind, spirit. I was told by Thomas Deegan that the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1819 through 1860, was a poor contract. As it was made by men, I must agree. However, it is the best that has ever been implemented. Many people seem to think it is still in effect. Even as an artifact to the United States incorporated governance that we have, it still stays the hand of the tyrants that wish to kill, enslave, incarcerate, and sacrifice us. Georgia Guidestones. We need men, women, and children of action. You already know more than you need to know to get the job done. If you want to learn some things, go for courage, righteous conviction, steadfastness of purpose, honor, friendship, love of your Creator and fellow survivors. Those that renounce their United States citizenship are misguided. It is one of your possessions. Expatriate to the de jure jurisdiction on Oregon or your state or territory. I am not a U.S. citizen, but I could be. It is my decision, not the decision of the de facto. Atheists and Satanists have renounced their Creator. That is their choice. I think it is wrong, but that may be an opinion. If you have no Creator, you have no unalienable rights. Definitions again. An opinion that develops a preponderance of evidence becomes a presentment. In our one-class constitutional Republican form of government, then that is prosecuted to find justice. That is a reason for our founding documents. We in the de jure are seeking remedy for the people. Punishment, incarceration, and execution is not our goal. Those are among the enumerated responsibilities of our elected and appointed public servants. Now let's go back and flesh it out a bit. So did I ring any bells with you, William?
I think you're right on it. I think there's a lot to be said about that stuff. I want to go back to the prayer. I heard in the prayer that we spell things and that all the words that we say are a spell. So the more we talk about our Constitution, the more it actually becomes real in our minds and in reality. You know, the less we talk about it, and that's what we see today, is that they stop talking about that and they stop talking about the Bible, and it slowly walks away because of it's not being mentioned in our lives. People are very hesitant to talk about the Bible or God or saying His name. These things, you know, our words really matter a lot. I've heard you several times. When somebody starts speaking, you know, I won't say an evil for sure, but you know, when we're talking about our older folks and they're on the edge of life and death, and insinuating that they're over the edge already, is bad speak. We shouldn't be saying that. We should be saying that things are going to go well for them, and then there's a good chance that they're going to. But if we all want to talk in the negative, then it's going to go that way. So we should start talking positive, even about our government too. You know, we're here to bring it back. And, you know, people are claiming, oh, no, you can't do that. It's impossible. They got too big of a grip. But the reality is it doesn't take very many people to actually bring this thing back. You know, we just have to start talking to each other, and it actually starts happening.
100% correct. Absolutely. The spell I think she was talking about is in the written word. When you write it and spell it out, that there's a lot of power in the written word. And when people write things, prognosticate things that are not even in their own best interests. You see people do that all the time. They say this bad thing or that bad thing is going to happen. And it's even against their own best interests that they say it. It's idiotic to act that way. And people do it all the time. Yeah, it's spelling, casting a spell.
Yeah, for sure. And you look at the different languages over the last, you know, few thousand years. You know, the English language is very young. And outside of, you know, when we go back to the older languages like Hebrew, and even, you know, the Asian languages, Japanese and Chinese, what we call letters in English, they don't actually have letters. What they have is characters, and each one of those, what we call letters, actually means something. These characters, you could just grab one of those things that we call a letter, and it'll mean water. So you could actually write out, the words. You could actually define what that word is by looking at each one of those characters. You don't have to go to the dictionary to look it up. You just look at those characters, and you know what the word means. And you get into English, and it's completely separate. The Y doesn't mean anything to us. The O, the W, well, we can go back and study some of those and figure out the W is actually two V's and, all that kind of stuff. But there's no characterization. We can't go, W means water, so it's completely weird when you start studying language, what we've done to ourselves.
Well, English is such a mishmash of so many different languages. The real basis is probably closer to Spanish than anything else, or maybe both of them are close to Latin.
Latin.
But yeah, that's probably the best thing we got for a basis of language. But then all the Germanic words come into it, and all the Norse words come into it.
Yeah.
And like Charlie's spoken about morning and morning.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't want to say good morning because morning is sadness for somebody that died.
Yeah, that's not good.
But I looked it up, and they're two different languages that they derived from. There's no connection whatsoever. They just sound the same. Phuquing.
Right. Then you look at today, and people are taking our words and they're trying to break it down to single letters, like the WTF or LOL. And I think 100 years from now, and when people look at this stuff, they're not going to know what the hell freaking we were even talking about, because there's that separation. If you took that individual character out of Hebrew and you put it inside there, you could say several words in a row like that with just 3 characters or something, and it would actually mean something forever. But with WTF or LOL, you're not going to get anything 100 years from now. People are going to go, what the hell does that mean? Because I'm constantly looking at people sending me texts, or I see even they're starting to write that kind of stuff in the comments on YouTube and things like that. And I actually have to go and look it up to find out what they're saying to me, because I don't follow it very well. But then when I go and look, I see that sometimes, 3 letters together can mean 5 different things depending on what context it was in. So I think they're going to have a hell of a time 100 years from now trying to break down our English language and what it becomes if we keep this up. And the school system is not like it was when I went to school, where we had to write in cursive and be able to print also, and to be able to understand what it said. I was going back through looking for my land patent in the county office, the county records, and every single log inside there was in cursive. And I don't write in cursive anymore. I'll do my autograph, and I know it, but sometimes I look at that stuff and go, what are they saying on that log right there of, this property or that property, because, they would write it so fast sometimes that they wouldn't fully emphasize the R or something like that. And it might look like it's almost just an I right there, but there's no dot on the top. So you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's an R right there. But these kids today, my grandkids, they don't have a clue what that is. We're losing our language and losing our mentality in the same way, I think.
I think a great deal of that has to do with typing with your thumbs instead of speaking on the phone or typing with your fingers to get the whole word out.
Yeah.
Does LOL mean laughing out loud or lots of love?
I think most of the time it's laughing out loud, but like you said, which one is it? And then how do you communicate to that person? Really, should you comment back or just let it go because you don't understand, or should you question them? And then it becomes this whole weird thing. I remember years ago when the internet started up and me and my sister were trying to communicate over the internet. Back then, you had to pay by the minute for the internet, and you had to pay by the minute on the phone. So we would communicate, and we would try to do the instant messaging, they would call it. It's kind of like texting. And you have to be very specific how you write. Otherwise, that other person could take it completely wrong in the other direction and be offended by what you said. And, so you want to type in the LOL, I guess, if you're joking, but it becomes weird. I think that it's easier just to pick up the phone and say it. They can hear your expression of the words and understand that you're joking around without the black and white words, that are, I don't know. There's no hard in black and white words as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I refuse to text message, but I think that's a product of my age, and it sneaks up on me in everything I do. Yeah. One of the things that I'm interested in communicating with is you already know more than you need to know if you're an adult and you're aware of what's going on. You don't need to study more. What you need to do is find people that are willing to take action and take action with them. When we go to an event like Salem, the people that show up at the event every time have been good people. We've never had anybody show up that's bad or causes any trouble. And the people that show up, they understand, and they're willing to sign their name and to stand up and be a juror in a grand jury or a petite jury. And that's what we're looking for. People that'll stand up in their own name, on their own state, and do what needs to be done. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't take a bunch of us. Yep. From what I've been able to understand, less than 3% were the people that were actually involved in the revolution. Yep. There was more people that were considered to be peaceful inhabitants that did not fight against the king because they were on the king's side. Yep. Than there were people that were actually fighting for liberty and for the removal of a tyrant.
Yeah, because of the difference between right and wrong. And when all the people are going that direction and it's the wrong direction and the right pops up, all those people will just switch over to this direction because they're just followers. And even the people that are kind of in control of the wrong part, they know what's right and wrong. They know that they've been ripping us off for the last 200 years. So they're just going to have to flip the other direction too, or they're going to have to face the business. And they don't want to face the business. They'll just figure out how to make money the other direction. I remember when, marijuana, legalization came to Oregon, and people were worried about the officers and what their jobs were going to be after legalization, or the canine dogs that were sniffing out marijuana. The reality is everybody will go do something else. They're not going to put those dogs down. They're not going to put the officers down. They're going to go do jobs like searching out stolen cars, or they're going to do something else. They didn't need to be there in the first place, So things will just change. And that's what the world's all about, is change. So we're going to change back the other direction, and we're going to enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, I guess you can freaking go somewhere else,
Mike Neerman, that they expelled from the Oregon House.
Mhm.
Did you read about
No,
that?
I heard that they were trying to, but I didn't know they actually did.
They actually did it. They expelled him. I sent him an email today and said, now that you're not working for that criminal organization, you can join us. I wonder if he'll respond.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's not wanted in their private club, secret society of what JFK was talking about, right? So now come join us then. Now that you can't belong to that little club, I mean, unless there's something wrong with you, right? Come join
I
the
would
other
think
side.
so.
As far as I can see, there's only two sides. Yeah, he
I
needs to, and I thought he should have anyway.
Say again?
I thought he should have joined us anyway, way back before they got him out of there, right? He should have just said, you know what? Screw you people. I'm going to join the right side.
Yeah.
Then it would have been better.
It would sure be nice to have some of those people to talk to find out exactly what is really going on. And they know because they've been there. Who sends you your check, Mike? Do you get paid out of Washington, D.C.? Are you actually an employee of the United States, Inc., as Oregon is a subdivision of that corporation? Where do you get your paycheck? That'd be really nice to know because then we could stop them from getting those paychecks. But they try and keep that a secret.
Yep, it's part of the whole hoax, right?
Yep.
Letting part of us believe that we live in a free country while, basically screwing us on the other side, they're not going to get away with it forever. One way or another, either we'll have our republic back or the kingdom will come.
I hope for the republic. I really do.
Get the republic and then the kingdom come.
Yeah, that's a better choice. I had a call today from a guy in Idaho that was referred to us by Zen from VSOF. You remember that outfit? They're doing a lot of teaching. He's out of Canada. We've emailed them a few times and had communications with them regarding what we're doing and what they're doing. It'd be nice if we could get more people. I'd like to give a shout out to Amy, who's with Mike Emery's group. That'd be nice. Mark Emery. Yeah, that'd be nice.
What should we have on the next show? Maybe we should tell people what we'll have on the next show. 12 presumptions always comes to my mind. Yeah, right. Maybe full on show of the 12 presumptions and how we think about even being in the damn courtroom anyway.
Good one. Let's make that the next show.
Okay. So the next show will be the 12 presumptions. And thanks everybody for watching. Go to our YouTube channel, Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. You can go to our website at OregonStatewideJuralAssembly.org or ORSJA for short. Then, of course, from there, you can look at our documents online. You can go to Brighteon, YouTube. You can join our blog and see where we're going to be next. Thank you.
Thank you.
The word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not abide with it. There is a grave danger that an announced need for insecurity will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. Today, no war has been declared, and however fierce the struggle may be, it may never be declared in the traditional fashion. Our way of life is under attack. Those who make themselves our enemy are advancing around the globe. The survival of our friends is in danger, and yet no war has been declared. No borders have been crossed by marching troops. No missiles have been fired. If the press is awaiting a declaration of war before it imposes the self-discipline of combat conditions, then I can only say that no war ever posed a greater threat to our security. If you are awaiting a finding of clear and present danger, then I can only say that the danger has never been more clear, and its presence has never been more imminent. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of...
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.